Hey, Radiant Mamas. Welcome to something new here on Radiant Mom Rising. Mini episodes every other week that give you a quick inspiration, mindset shifts, and practical tips to help you thrive in both motherhood and business. These are designed to be short, powerful, and something you can fit into your busy day. Let's dive in. Hey, Mama. I want to build on what we talked about in the last episode because once you start becoming aware of your beliefs, there's another layer underneath all of that that can completely change the way you see yourself. And this one hit me hard when I first started understanding it because I started realizing some of the things I believed about myself, about life, about success, stress, love, motherhood, about what was possible for me didn't actually start with me. They were learned, absorbed, molded, repeated, passed down. And I don't mean that in a blaming way. I mean that in a deeply human way. Because when you're a child, you are incredibly impressionable. You're not walking around logically analyzing life experiences thinking, should I adopt this belief system or not? You're soaking everything in. The way people speak, the way conflict is handled, the way emotions are expressed, the way love is given, the way stress is carried, the way women talk about themselves, the way money is discussed, the way rest is treated, the way mistakes are responded to. You absorb all of it before you even realize you're doing it. And over time, those repeated experiences quietly become your normal. And what's interesting is we rarely question what feels normal to us, even when it's hurting us. That's huge because some of you listening right now may have grown up around women who constantly overworked, overgave, overfunctioned, and emotionally carried everyone else. So now slowing down makes you uncomfortable, not because rest is wrong, but because it feels unfamiliar. Some of you may have grown up around criticism, so now you're incredibly hard on yourself. Some of you grew up feeling like love had to be earned through performance. So now you struggle to feel worthy unless you're constantly producing, helping, fixing, or achieving. Some of you watch stress become a lifestyle. So peace almost feels suspicious. Like, when is this shoe going to drop, right? And none of that feels obvious at first. It just feels like this is who I am. But so often it's conditioning. And I think motherhood has this way of bringing all of it to the surface, because once you become a parent, you start hearing yourself. You notice your reactions, your triggers, your emotional patterns, your automatic responses. I mean, some of us learn it sooner than later. Others of us, it takes a little bit of time, and that's okay. Because there are some times you have those moments where you think, wait, where did that come from? And I know I've had so many moments like that, but one that really stayed with me was my oldest son when he was younger. I think he was about 7 or 8 at the time, and I had been teaching him how to clean the bathroom. And whenever he finished, he would always call me to inspect it. And I remember one day I walked in and after he cleaned, and immediately I started pointing out everything he missed. Like, okay, you missed that. You forgot here, this spot. And I remember stopping mid-sentence because it suddenly hit me like, oh my gosh, I became my mom in this moment. And I don't say that negatively. I love my mom deeply. Everyone knows how much my mom has been such an impact to my journey. But growing up, perfection and cleanliness were a huge thing in our home. And a lot of the focus was often on what wasn't done right and what was missed, what needed fixing. And standing there with my son, I suddenly remembered how that made me feel as a child. Like nothing I did was ever fully enough. Like the focus always landed on what was wrong instead of what was good. And what's wild is I had never consciously planned to repeat that pattern. It just came out automatically. And that's the power of conditioning. But here's the beautiful part. Awareness gives you choice. And that moment changed something for me because instead of continuing that pattern automatically, I paused. And from that point on, I started approaching things differently. When he cleaned something, I intentionally started noticing what he did do well first. Wow, thank you for doing this. You did such a great job here. I really appreciate you helping. And if something needed fixing or got missed, I would gently guide it instead of leading with criticism. And maybe that sounds small to some people, but those small moments matter, especially to our kids, especially with us in changing who we are, because patterns are built in repetition and healing often happens in repetition too. And that's why this work matters so much, because a lot of women are walking around believing this is just my personality, when in reality, many of the things we struggle with are conditioned emotional patterns we learned to survive, adapt, belong, protect ourselves, or receive love. That changes the conversation completely, because now instead of what's wrong with me, the question becomes, what might I have learned? That question creates compassion, awareness, freedom. And this doesn't mean blaming your parents or your childhood or staying stuck in the past forever. That's not the point. The point is understanding, because once you understand something, you can begin changing it. Patterns can be interrupted, beliefs can shift, nervous systems can heal, new emotional experiences can be created, new identities can be built. That's powerful. You get to decide who you want to be and how you want your life to look like, more than so many of us realize. And I think this matters especially for moms, because whether we realize it or not, our healing impacts generations. The way you speak to yourself, the way you regulate emotions, the way you handle stress, the way you repair after mistakes, the way you model self worth. Your children absorb those things too. Not perfectly, but deeply. And that's not pressure, that's possibility. One of the biggest shifts in my own life happened when I stopped trying to fix myself and started understanding myself instead. That changed everything, because awareness removes shame, and shame keeps people stuck. But awareness creates choice. So this week, I don't want you judging yourself. I want you observing yourself. That's different. Just notice your reactions, your stress patterns. Notice the thoughts that automatically come up. Notice what feels uncomfortable. Notice what feels familiar. And instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, where might I have learned this? That one question alone can open so much healing. And as I've been creating this series and building what's coming behind the scenes, these are the exact kind of conversations I keep coming back to, because moms do not need more pressure to be perfect. They need more support, more awareness, more healing, more nervous system safety, more tools that actually help simplify life and business instead of making everything feel even heavier. And that's one of the reasons why I've been recently exploring ways to help moms, not only emotionally and mentally, but practically too. Because I know firsthand what it feels like to carry so much mentally while trying to build a business, raise a family, show up online, manage responsibilities, and somehow still have energy left for yourself. That's why I recently created a free guide called AI for Busy Moms: 5 simple ways to save time in your business without losing your authenticity. It's designed to help overwhelmed moms simplify content creation, reduce mental overload, and start creating more breathing room in business without feeling robotic or losing who they are in the process. Because AI should support your voice, not replace it. So if you've been feeling stretched thin, mentally overloaded, or like you're constantly trying to do everything the hard way, I would absolutely love for you to download it. I'll have it linked below in the show notes for you. And as I continue building what's coming behind the scenes, these conversations around identity, emotional patterns, self worth, overwhelm, nervous system regulation, and transformation are becoming an even deeper part of the work I'm creating for moms. So if this series has been resonating with you deeply, I also want to invite you to join the early waitlist for my upcoming Identity Reset program that's launching later this summer. This is going to be such a powerful space for moms who are ready to stop abandoning themselves, shift limiting beliefs, rebuild confidence, regulate overwhelm, and become the version of themselves they know they're meant to be. I'm also opening up a limited number of free connection calls for moms who want support, clarity, or simply a safe space to explore where they are right now and where they truly want to be. Everything's going to be linked below if you want to be part of this journey and part of this transformational work. And until next time, Mama, stay curious about yourself, stay open to growth, and remember,
Awareness is not something that should shame you. It's what gives you the power to choose differently. I'll see you in the next episode. Much love.